Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
The ancient world brims with stories and histories that have shaped the very essence of our civilization. Yet, among the many tales that have endured the test of time, the narratives of Jesus and Moses stand unparalleled in their influence. Their lives, legacies, and spiritual contributions have reached across continents, transforming cultures and inspiring billions. However, buried beneath layers of history, interpretation, and sometimes deliberate omission lies an often overlooked truth: the African roots of these monumental figures. This forgotten heritage offers not only a deeper understanding of Jesus and Moses, but also a richer comprehension of the interconnectedness of human history. Imagine, for a moment, the landscapes of ancient Africa. These were lands teeming with life, innovation, and spirituality. From the banks of the Nile to the sprawling deserts of the Sahara, Africa was not a passive bystander in the annals of history, but a crucible where civilizations flourished. It was a continent of scholars, builders, and visionaries, where the ancient Egyptians built towering monuments to their gods and Nubian kingdoms rivaled their northern neighbors in wealth and influence. It was a place where spirituality was as natural as the rhythm of the Nile's floods, and the divine was interwoven with everyday life. In this context, the stories of Jesus and Moses take on a dimension that transcends the traditional portrayals so often repeated in modern discourse. To begin with, Moses, the great liberator and lawgiver of the Hebrew Bible, is a figure deeply entwined with the history of Africa. His story begins in Egypt, a land whose significance in African history cannot be overstated. Ancient Egypt was a beacon of culture, knowledge, and power, a civilization that stood as a testament to the ingenuity of humanity. Yet, despite its undeniable African roots, much of modern discourse tends to dissociate Egypt from the rest of the continent, often portraying it as something apart. But Moses' story is inseparable from Egypt, and by extension, from Africa. Born at a time when the Hebrew people were enslaved in Egypt, Moses' early life was one of paradox. Rescued from the waters of the Nile and raised in the Egyptian royal court, he was a child of both oppression and privilege. The Nile, an enduring symbol of life and sustenance in Africa, cradled the infant Moses, foreshadowing his eventual role as a savior of his people. The royal court of Pharaoh, steeped in the grandeur and mysticism of ancient African culture, became his home. Here, Moses would have been exposed to the wisdom of Egypt, its sciences, its religion, its governance. These formative years in the heart of African civilization undoubtedly shaped his understanding of leadership and justice, elements that would later define his mission. Moses' exile to Midian and his eventual encounter with the divine at Mount Sinai further highlight the African dimensions of his story. Midian, located in the region that straddles modern-day Arabia and northeastern Africa, was a land where diverse cultures and traditions intersected. It was in this liminal space, at the burning bush, that Moses received his divine commission. The imagery of fire, a potent symbol in African spiritual traditions, resonates deeply in this moment. Fire, often seen as a purifier and a divine presence, underscores the sacredness of Moses' calling. As Moses led his people out of Egypt in the epic journey of the Exodus, the African landscape remained central to the narrative. The deserts, mountains, and oases of the region were not mere backdrops but active participants in the story, shaping the experiences of the Hebrews and their relationship with the divine. The giving of the Ten Commandments at Mount Sinai, a moment that would define not only the Hebrew people, but also the moral and ethical frameworks of countless societies, took place in this African context. The mountains, stark and imposing, served as a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a motif deeply rooted in African spiritual traditions. Turning to Jesus, the African connections become no less profound. While much of his life unfolded in the regions of Galilee and Judea, his story, too, is intertwined with Africa. The Gospel of Matthew recounts the flight of Mary, Joseph, and the infant Jesus into Egypt, an act that not only saved the young child from Herod's wrath but also firmly placed his early life within an African context. Egypt, with its long history as a sanctuary for those seeking refuge, became the backdrop for this pivotal chapter. The symbolism of Jesus finding safety in the land that once enslaved his ancestors is striking, a testament to the cyclical nature of history and the interconnectedness of peoples. But the African roots of Jesus extend beyond his brief sojourn in Egypt. To understand this, one must delve into the historical and cultural milieu of the ancient world. The regions surrounding the Mediterranean, including North Africa, were vibrant hubs of trade, culture, and religion. Jewish communities thrived in places like Alexandria, a city that stood as a beacon of learning and cultural exchange. These communities were not isolated, but were deeply influenced by the African context in which they lived. The intellectual and spiritual traditions of Africa, from the mysteries of Egyptian theology to the philosophical schools of thought in cities like Cyrene, would have been part of the broader Jewish experience of the time. Moreover, the early Christian church found fertile ground in Africa. Alexandria became one of the great centers of Christian thought, producing theologians and scholars whose works continue to influence Christianity to this day. Figures like Origen and Athanasius, who played crucial roles in shaping Christian doctrine, hail from this African city. The deserts of Egypt and North Africa became the cradles of monasticism, where early Christians sought solitude to deepen their faith and commune with the divine. These African contributions to Christianity underscore the continent's profound impact on the religion that emerged from the teachings of Jesus. The physical appearance of Jesus has long been a subject of debate and speculation. Traditional depictions, shaped by European artistic conventions, often portray him with fair skin, light eyes, and European features. However, these images are more reflective of the cultural context in which they were created than of historical reality. Jesus, born in the region of Judea, would have been a man of Middle Eastern descent, with physical characteristics common to the people of that area. Given the historical and genetic interconnections between the peoples of North Africa and the Middle East, it is not unreasonable to consider that Jesus' appearance may have borne some resemblance to the diverse populations of Africa. The African roots of Jesus and Moses also carry profound spiritual significance. Africa, as a continent, has long been a wellspring of spirituality. Its traditions, deeply connected to the rhythms of nature and the cycles of life, resonate with the themes found in the stories of these figures. The emphasis on community, the sacredness of life, and the interplay between the divine and the earthly are common threads that weave through African spiritual practices and the narratives of Jesus and Moses. Recognizing these connections enriches our understanding of their stories, offering new dimensions of meaning and relevance. In rediscovering the African roots of Jesus and Moses, we are reminded of the interconnectedness of humanity. Their stories, far from being confined to specific regions or peoples, are part of a larger tapestry that encompasses the entirety of human experience. Africa, with its rich history and profound spirituality, is an integral part of this tapestry. By acknowledging and embracing these roots, we not only honor the true complexity of their narratives, but also celebrate the shared heritage of all humanity. The implications of this recognition extend beyond history and theology. In a world often divided by race, culture, and religion, the stories of Jesus and Moses serve as powerful reminders of our shared humanity. Their African roots challenge us to look beyond the boundaries that separate us, to see the common threads that bind us together. They invite us to embrace a more inclusive understanding of history, one that celebrates diversity and fosters unity. The journey to uncover the African roots of Jesus and Moses is not merely an academic exercise. It is a journey of the heart and soul. It calls us to question, to explore, and to connect. It is a journey that enriches our understanding of these towering figures and deepens our appreciation for the richness of African history and culture. Above all, it is a journey that brings us closer to the divine, reminding us that the sacred is not confined to any one place or people, but is a universal truth that transcends time and space. In the end, the forgotten African roots of Jesus and Moses are not just a story of the past. They are a story of the present and the future. They are a testament to the enduring power of truth, the resilience of the human spirit, and the unbreakable bonds that connect us all. By bringing these roots to light, we honor the legacy of Jesus and Moses and reaffirm our shared commitment to justice, compassion, and understanding. It is a legacy that belongs to all of us, a legacy that calls us to be better, to love more deeply, and to walk together on the shared journey of life.